Hi, it's Super Sam here. So in this episode, what we're going to do is take a photo. This one is of a Wookie, and we're going to remove all the background because we want to make it into a puppet, but we need a transparent background for the puppet. If we don't have a transparent background, we can't move its arms and legs around properly because it'll all be stuck together. So we're just going to use Photoshop to remove it. So this one doesn't involve any character animator. It's just removing the background using Photoshop. Hope you enjoy. Okay. So in this one, what we're going to do is to load up a file. We're going to create a new document, and we're going to then remove it. Now, we're using the latest version. It's got some nifty new features. So I'm going to create a new document, and what we're then going to do is load the photo on top. So I'm going to use a letter. I want it reasonably high resolution, because the photos are generally fairly high resolution as well. And then I'm going to go File. I'm going to place Embedded. I'm in the right directory, and it's called Wookie JPEG. Now, JPEG files don't have the idea of transparency, so what we're doing is we're going to turn it into a Photoshop file, which does support the idea of transparency. So it seems to have dropped that in a nice spot. We're going to click the tick button to accept that. Now, down here in the Layers tab, we've got our new photo, and we've got a background layer. I don't want the background layer. I could just turn it off, but I'm actually just going to delete that layer. No more layer. You might notice down here we got this checkerboard pattern, and that's what we want. That's what Photoshop uses to show that it's transparent. So you might notice I took this picture on a fairly solid plain background, which makes it easy to remove all the background. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use a new feature of the latest version of Photoshop called Select Subject. It automatically analyzes a picture and has a pretty good guess of where the outline of the puppet is. And you can see it's made a few mistakes. So what we're going to do is make sure we're on the Quick Selection tool, which is this one over here. And then, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's a plus symbol at the moment. But when I hold down the Alt key on Windows, it turns into a minus key. And I can just draw over that area, and it removes it. Now, it's a little bit sensitive in some areas. Sometimes you might want to give it more than one go. But can I get up into the armpit? I got reasonably up there. In between the legs, down here, up here. I don't have to get it perfectly right, but the better I get it, the easier it will be later. Okay, so we've made this sort of selection. Now I'm going to go into this select and mask mode. And you might say, that's looking pretty good already. And it is. But if you zoom in, you can start seeing a little bit of yellow all through his hair. So what we'd like to do is just, because he's furry, does a pretty good job on the straight edges, but the furry gets a bit confused. And so what we want to do is clean that up a little bit. And so over here in this sidebar is this Refine Edge Brush tool. And we're going to use that. Now, you can pick the size. I prefer something fairly big just because it makes it a bit quicker. And you can see this dot on the screen. And you just run this over the edge of his hair. Don't run it over the middle because it can get a little bit too aggressive. But I'm just running gently around the edge. And hopefully you can see that it's getting rid of some of the yellow. Now, in the view mode over here, what you can do is you can go into black and white mode. And you see how the edge looks a little bit more furry now? Whereas this edge I haven't done is still quite sharp. And that's really what we're fixing up. We're pruning out the little bits of yellow poking through, which makes his fur look a little bit more gentle. So we're going to dum-de-dum-de-dum, dum-dum-dum-dum-dum, all around the edge. I'm not going to do his paw, because I don't want to remove anything from there. Dum-de-dum-de-dum, around down here. Now, this tool's pretty clever, because it's also getting rid of the blue. So it's saving me all sorts of effort, getting ring the legs not touch. I let go of the mouse every so often, just so I've got the undo buffer. If I do too much, now when I undo it, it undoes everything. I'm just going around the edge. Don't push it in too far because it can get a little bit too aggressive. And, oh, it looks like he's got a bit of a dint in his hand. We better fix that one up as well. I'm holding down the space bar. When I hold down the space bar, it gives me a drag thing, so it makes it a bit quicker. So along around the edge. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the quick selection tool. And I'm just going to color that part in. And I've gone a little bit too far there. If I do Control Plus, I can zoom in a bit. You can see I've gone, oh, and there's a little bit of a line down there too. Interesting. So if I hold down the Alt key, it goes into minus mode. And I can go like that. Now, if we go back to black and white mode, this becomes a lot clearer now, doesn't it? Control minus zooms back out a bit. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key and run down this line. So I'm in this quick selection mode and just trying to clean that up a little bit by holding down the Alt key. And then a bit more. Run down the line. Deal with that mess. It's looking a little bit better. Control minus to zoom out. Holding space and drag. And he's looking pretty good. Okay. So I hit OK. And what it's done is it's improved this outline, and you might know it's a little bit more blurry. So what we're going to do is come down here onto this Add Layer Mask tool. Click that button. It's now added a mask for my layer. So I've got the original artwork, but it's got this layer to sort of mask out all the bits I don't want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with now an Erase tool, which is also a way of getting back the background, but I'm going to zoom in a bit because I want to do a better job of his armpit. And I tried before, and the tool, because the color is so close to his shirt, it just couldn't do a very good job. So I'm just going to come in here gently with the Erase tool and just fix that one up by hand. I want to get right up into the joint because these joints are going to affect how well the arm can move later on. And what I'm going to do, if the legs touch each other, Character Animator gets a bit confused, so I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to go right down the middle and just create a bit of a gap down there. Just so Character Animator later on will know those legs are unrelated. I can see a little bit more of a shadow line through there. And cool. We're done. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to save it as a PSD file. Wookie clean. It's going to say compatibility. I'll say yes. And voila. We're done. Well, that was pretty quick. Next episode, we're going to take this image and we're going to clean it up some more and start animating it. And that should be pretty cool because then we get to actually make it do something and make it move. It's pretty quick, but you've got to get rid of that background first. Well, hope you enjoyed this first episode.